And my friend told me, I think I've noticed you avoid situations. And in hindsight, it was my intuition. So in conclusion, hello guys, and welcome to my channel, the Namfumu Diaries. Today, I'd like to talk about avoidance. I'm talking about this because I don't know if you can be like me sometimes and sometimes avoid doing difficult things you should do, or sometimes we procrastinate things that we should be doing. One of my favorite questions to ask is why. In any situation, I think the first thing I usually ask is why. I got to a point where I asked myself why I was avoiding to do certain things or procrastinating on certain things. And it was really triggered by my friend telling me I was avoiding to do something I really didn't want to do, that I needed situation. My friend told me how I avoid situations when it means I'm going to hurt people's feelings. And it didn't hit home until she mentioned that, and I was like, So in that, avoiding dealing with the situation because I knew it was going to end in hurt for someone. Now, here are just my thoughts on sometimes why we avoid or we procrastinate when doing certain things. So number one, when it comes to my situation, for example, I tend to be, I'm like a switch. I'm either, especially in, let's say, romantic or emotional related situations, I'm either for it or against it. And sometimes I tend to give people grace because I know that when that side comes up, I'm never going to speak to the person again. So sometimes I tend to give them grace. And that's sometimes made me tolerate things that I never should have tolerated them. So number one, maybe you are giving grace or you are avoiding the imminent calamity from happening. So you need to ask yourself, and you need to question yourself, and you need to make sure that you tell yourself that sometimes you can't stop the worst from happening. Situation number two. Sometimes it's that we feel incapable or we feel inadequate. We feel like the situation is overwhelming and we can't deal with it. One thing that helps me in moments like that is, one, I connect to a higher power source. So maybe I pray about it and I ask God to help strengthen me, or I go and speak to someone who has more knowledge and more experience in the matter. And also, I affirm myself, I encourage myself. And another thing I do is I break up that task or that thing into a series of little things. So instead of me looking at this huge mountain, I'm looking at 4 or 5 stages of something, or 10 stages, or 10 little pieces, instead of one big thing. Point number 3. Sometimes it's just flat out laziness. And honestly, laziness should not be tolerated. So you need to ask yourself. And if you're being flat out lazy, you need to talk sense into yourself and shake up yourself and actually do it. We need to get to a point of where we do things regardless of how we feel. It's not about whether you feel like doing it. It's about doing something because it needs to be done or because you committed to it. Another point is sometimes you just don't understand. Like it's just confusing to you. And what I do in situations like this is I educate myself. I get knowledge on the situation. I speak to different people so I can piece the different pieces of a puzzle together. I watch different things and I just connect to a higher source, connect to people that have more experience, more enlightenment regarding the matter. Number 5, and the final one, is sometimes it's your intuition. Sometimes your intuition is stopping you from doing something. A quick story. Earlier this year, I got the idea to invest in a certain business venture. And for some reason, I did everything. I went to the council, I did the research, I did the calculations, I did everything. But something was just telling me now wasn't the time. And in hindsight, it was my intuition. If I had invested in this particular business, due to the COVID-19 crisis, it would have been an utmost flop because it would have required circumstances to be different and the economic situation to be different. So I was very lax and I was very hesitant. I didn't understand that this COVID-19 crisis was going to become so bad. But something in my intuition was telling me, and it made me drag my feet and not give it the type of energy I usually give business ventures I'm pursuing. Just to close it all off, you need to ask yourself why. You need to get to the root of the matter, and you need to find a solution. Stop procrastinating, stop avoiding situations that you know you must be doing. I hope you find this video helpful, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for listening, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.